And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to The Bald Truth. Phone number 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. It's great to be back here at the Bald Truth Studios. You can see, as you can probably see, we've made some changes. We are working out some of the kinks in those changes, and I'm hoping that things are okay. I got to tell you, this has been, as Andrew Zarion will probably tell you, it's been an extremely stressful day trying to get this thing up and running. I definitely see there's some issues with the high def cam, at least on one shot, but we're going to work those out. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727, 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Listen, if you're new to the program, don't know who I am or why I am here, I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss. And, I'm a consumer advocate for men and women, who are dealing with hair loss. That's all I do. This is what I do. This program has been on the air and online for about 14 years. And the reason we're able to stay on the air for so long is because 2/3 of you, by the age of 35, you guys, will suffer with some degree of hair loss. 40% of hair loss sufferers are women. How insane is that? It is a silent epidemic of biblical proportions that affects just about every household in this country. And it is devastating for people. Absolutely devastating. And you know what? I'm a hair loss sufferer. I have been a hair loss sufferer for over 20 years. Sounds pretty insane that I've been dealing with this for 20 years and I still have hair in my head. And by the way, if I seem preoccupied, I'm really trying to deal with this new software and these new cameras and these new switchers and all kinds of stuff like that. But I am a guy who started losing his hair at around the age of 21. And by the grace of God, I was lucky enough to find FDA-approved medication that really helped me. And I decided to really dedicate my life to helping to guide people in a completely safe direction when it comes to anything and everything hair loss. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm being a little preoccupied. I see that Stickcam's having some problems, but I know that some of the other feeds are good. So if you need to skip over to gfqlive.tv to check out the feed, or Ustream, or Justin TV, or any of the other places, or if you want to listen on iTunes Radio, feel free to take a listen. Oh, thanks, Ann. Yeah, you know what? I'm not recording. I'm going to record right now. There you go. I'm recording now. Sorry about that. So, if you have ever considered buying any product or service to treat your hair loss, really understand that it's a $3.5 billion a year industry. 99% of all products and services that claim to stop, prevent, or treat hair loss just don't work. And that's just the way that it is. I was a vulnerable hair loss sufferer, and I'm still vulnerable, but I bought every product and service to try to treat my hair loss. I've done everything in my power to maintain a semblance of a full head of hair. And I can tell you this, that most of the products, again, don't work. They're complete bullshit. And now with the internet, it's getting even worse. While we have a tremendous wealth of information online, and there are safe places to go to find completely objective information, our message forum, which is baldtruthtalk.com, and of course, the Bald Truth website, the American Hair Loss Association website, womenshairlossproject.com, and all the sites that we work with, are affiliated with, and actually own, are safe places. We are completely objective. But sadly, people prefer to buy some bullshit, some product, before they actually end up, in some cases, coming to us. If you look up hair loss or hair loss treatments, what's going to come up first? Probably in most places around the world, it's going to be the American Hair Loss Association. But you guys are going to skip that because you're trying to find something to help yourself out right now. You don't want to educate yourselves for the most part, at least initially. You don't want to be, concerned about, knowing the nuances of hair loss in the hair loss industry. You want to get help now. That's probably the biggest mistake that most people make, and I made the same mistake. Take your time, step back before you buy a product or service. Make sure that it's recommended by the American Hair Loss Association. Make sure that it's FDA approved, and make sure that it is proven to work on at least a significant percentage of people. And most of these products and services just are not. Phone number 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Now, let's see if the phones are working. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
As a hair loss sufferer, it's so hard getting through the holiday season. This year was especially tough. Not having you on the air, man. My only friends, George, Johny from Ohio. In fact, I was emotionally devastated as well as bedridden. Thank you, my friend. Happy New Year.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is. Excuse me. My name is.
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is.
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is.
Joe from Staten Island.
Joe, what's happening, man? How are you? I missed you too. I want to let you know. I thank you so much for taking the time to write me, and you know that I've had to deal with a lot of crap the last couple of weeks, for the last month actually. And I'm back. I'm back in the studio. Hopefully we can be here for a while. And, we set things up differently now. We have some new software and some different cameras, and we're just trying to get things looking and sounding really good this year.
Yes. Well, first of all, I have to ask you how your father is.
My father is, not doing terrific. He's currently in a... like an assisted living rehab. Hopefully we can get him back to the house. He was hospitalized again, and we're just trying to, get him strong physically and emotionally, and hopefully strong enough to get him out here. That's my goal. That's the end game, to get him out here close to me. He needs too much care to keep him in the house, and frankly, it wouldn't be healthy for any of us to have him in this house anyway. And luckily, he's got some really great benefits, and, I can help out as well, so we can get him into a facility that's very close to me, where I can have lunch with him and, take him out to dinner and things like that. And I think that will, in the end, be a lot better for him and, frankly, a lot easier on me.
Yes, because obviously you can't take, the physical strain and emotional strain of constantly traveling back and forth between the East and the West Coast.
Well, first of all, it's insane. I speak to a lot of people, and I tell them what I do, and people who have dealt with similar situations, and they all think that I'm out of my mind to do that because it takes, first of all, most guys don't have the opportunity or the ability that I have to be able to travel on, with very little notice. I work for myself, and I can work for the most part, from anywhere in the country, except for I can't really do the program like the way that I'd like to do it, and I definitely neglect some of the stuff that I need to do here in Los Angeles. But, with that said, my father's very lucky in that respect, and I'm lucky that I can do that. But it's incredibly draining, dude. It is. Maybe if my father was a different type of a person, it wouldn't be quite as draining. But that makes it so much worse that he's not the easiest guy in the world. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm not here to complain. I feel extremely fortunate that I'm in the position to be able to help him out. And that's it. That's my duty as a son, I guess, right?
Well, you're a rare person because the average son, a lot of sons wouldn't go to, the lengths that you go through for your father, and I commend you on that.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. No, I appreciate that. No, I really do. I'm just, when I think about it sometimes, it's actually overwhelming, and that's why I try not to talk about it too much or think about it. So I appreciate your thoughts and the fact that you've written me several times and you've called me in the past, and that you're concerned. You always ask about my dad. But from now on, let's just get right to the show, because I spent enough time thinking about my dad and the situation.
Okay, so we'll get right back to the show.
Good.
First of all, I want to wish my brothers and sisters in the hair loss community a happy and maybe, hopefully, a hairy new year. But what can I say about that?
Well, listen.
Every year we hope.
I've been a little, out of things, out of sorts in a sense, and I haven't had the opportunity to really read the forums like I should, and really stay on top of things. I have been getting some emails from some companies. I was contacted not too long ago by one of the representatives right before the holidays of RepliCel. We hope to do a lot more together this year. There's a lot of great information that they're going to be able to provide all of you guys. And I'm so happy that they really want to get it out there through the Bald Truth, because they understand the level of our following as far as, I guess the intensity and the passion behind all of you guys who are part of what we do. And they want to get it out there to you guys first. So I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff happening this year.
Well, RepliCel is supposed to, allegedly, first quarter of 2012, they will be published, probably in March, they will be publishing some type of their results. That's what I've heard.
That's great. What else? Anything happening on some of the other resources that you frequent that I should know about?
You're breaking up a little bit. The what?
Oh man, I knew that would happen tonight. Anything else happening on some of the other resources that you read?
Well, Aderan is also supposed to come out this spring with some interesting news, supposedly. And also Allergen is supposed to have some information on their trials with Latisse. But as far as having anything in hand, which would help us right now, unfortunately, it's not here. And I hate to say it, another year has gone by. Here we are, still bald. Well, not you, but a lot of us, still bald.
Dude, I'm still painting the head. Still painting the top of the head. I got the hair. I actually went to get a haircut this week, and, I've been going to this guy basically since I've got here to Los Angeles, and he understands, there's a few months, he has to allow the hair on top to grow at least, throughout maybe 3 or 4 haircuts. So he can't cut it like 3 or 4 times when I'm going throughout the year. And he, combs it over just slightly. We do the paint job perfectly. It works. It really works. I feel extremely fortunate. But who knows? Who knows how long I'm going to be able to maintain this facade, this sham? I don't know. So.
Well, hopefully we're talking next year. This time, wishing everyone a happy New Year. Things will be different, because I don't know if I go through another year like this. And me and many of the sufferers out there listening to the show right now, they have their hands up in the air. It's like Jerry Lewis. Must end the telethon every year. We're getting closer. But here we are. We're still hair loss sufferers and we're powerless.
Yeah.
I sound very agitated tonight because I've just been in a state of depression, over all this.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You've been, I know you've been dealing with this for a long time. So is there anything that you can report to the guys because we haven't done the show live for a few weeks?
Only thing new I have to report is that RepliCel, is all over the place, giving all kinds of information. They will definitely have a report within the next 3 months. And so will Aderan. The Falca supposedly will be having some information on their trials. And so will Allergen. So this should hopefully be an exciting year for what I'm hearing.
I think it will be.
And as far as ASO is concerned, Dr. Gary Hitzig has been publishing some new photos. And, on I won't mention this site, on another hair site, which are pretty impressive photos, but he's been viciously attacked by some people on the forums,
Look,
and,
unfortunately, Dr. Hitzig doesn't have the best reputation in the world, and I've spoken about this openly and bluntly over the years. He came out pretty strong with ACell. I've allowed him to come on the program, and we've had some great conversations. We've created a lot of buzz and excitement, but I've always said that you guys have to walk with caution. You guys have to just be cautiously optimistic. But, we didn't really the results so far have not been outrageously amazing. You know what I mean? I've seen a couple of great before and after shots. I've spoken to a couple of patients who believe they've been helped by it. I've also spoken to patients who believe they've been experimented on, and they're just not, happy with the results that they got from either A-cell plucking or A-cell scar repair or just injections of A-cell into the scalp with PRP. And you're one of them.
Right, but my understanding, the pictures that Dr. Hitzig recently, published, are pretty impressive. I don't know what else to say about that, but a lot of people complaining that they feel that Dr. Hitzig, the doctors doing PRP, but A-cell should be adding more growth factors such as lithium, VEGF and WNETs. Now, that's where they feel the problem is, the so-called scientists on the other side, this is their impression.
Right, so-called scientists. What do you mean the so-called? You mean the so-called Monday morning quarterbacks on the other side?
Right.
Yeah.
I said so-called scientists.
Yeah. These people are definitely not scientists. And that's the problem with the internet, and that's the problem with the message forums. And the message forums is just such a great place to gather information, share your thoughts and your feelings and your fears and your concerns and your knowledge with other people in need. There's all these guys that really spend a lot of time on the message forums that, they kind of it becomes part of their identity. And the more time they spend on there, the greater of an online identity they have. And, some guys come across as being extremely knowledgeable when, in fact, they might not be. There was a guy out there for years, and I'm not going to mention his name, but you know who I'm talking about, who...
I could say John the Revelator, right?
Well, there's another guy, but him too, who was out there for years on all the forums, who everyone looked up to, everyone asked questions to. And this guy really, honestly... he could hardly help himself. And he kind of disappeared. His first name starts with a B, but he kind of disappeared recently in the last couple of years. But, this is a guy that everyone asked questions to, and he was extremely active on the forums, and he can barely help himself. And it was all about these future treatments and stuff that's coming down the pike, and also experimenting with kind of Proctor's products and things of that nature. It didn't get him anywhere, and people expending their resources, their time, and their energy contacting this guy through the message forums, while it created great traffic for these forums, it really didn't benefit anybody. So I always tell people just to kind of step back, really try to listen to the experts that are taking the time to get involved on the forum. The physicians, we try to get out there to some degree. We're bringing people from, these companies like RepliCel, and eventually we will have more information on histogen again. I've been a little lax on that, but nothing monumental has happened, so it doesn't really make a difference anyway. But this is what you should listen to. And in the interim, the forum should be used to exchange ideas and concerns and to support each other. But you can't read some of the stuff that these anonymous users write and treat it like the gospel.
Right. But, let me just summarize quickly. Millions of other, hundreds of other calls waiting. But the point is, the bottom line is what these people say is nonsense. The only people who really know what's going on are the CEOs of Falica, Histogen, and RepliCel, and Agitation. They're the people who really know.
And me.
Nobody else does.
And me.
That's the bottom line.
I'm just kidding, dude.
Excuse me?
I said and me, actually. I'm just kidding, though. So is the phone breaking up a lot tonight? Because I got so many things happening with my bandwidth.
Yeah.
Say that again?
No. You were breaking up a little bit. I couldn't hear that.
Okay. Is it breaking up a lot tonight?
A little bit. I'm actually watching you on the computer. I've noticed you have a profile shot, too.
Yes, I do. It's a brand new shot.
Is that something new?
It's something that we just started to do today.
Because I'm trying to dissect the back of your scalp. Maybe you can have the camera get over there and zoom in.
How's that looking? Look at that paint job, man.
Oh, wow, man. Looks great.
I give you an A+. I'm an artist, dude. I am an artist. 888-659-3727, 888-659-3727. Just so you know, I don't have anything else hooked up except for these shots. I don't even have anything, any music coming through this computer. This is a brand new computer. I want to thank Andrew Zarion from the guys, GFQ Network, for actually building this computer for me, shipping it out to me. I will tell you that it's been an incredibly interesting experience and a frustrating experience getting this thing up and running, but we did it. And hopefully it remains stable, and we will just continue, but just know that we may be having some technical problems. I know I'm having some problems with the phone because I'm sending Skype and I'm sending this signal, and I'm using new software with a new computer. And, I'm hearing all kinds of weird noises through my headset, so I'm a little preoccupied. But by next week, everything, all the bugs should be worked out, and we should be back on track with the show. And that's it, Joe. I missed you, though, buddy. I really did.
I appreciate that. You're not breaking up, but you just don't sound very clear. I can't. At some points, I can't understand what you're saying. You're not breaking up, but you seem a little mumbling.
So it's a little garbled.
That's the word, garbled. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that definitely has to do with the bandwidth issue, and I don't know if that's happening on the air or not. You guys let me know. But what I'm probably going to have to do is get another line in here specifically for the phones now that I have this significantly more powerful system running with all kinds of... it's crazy now. You see the studio. I just have two angles here, but if I showed you guys the whole studio, there's just so much equipment in here now.
I don't know if you just did something, but now you seem a little bit clearer. Did you just do something?
I didn't do a thing. It has to do with the bandwidth. That's it. I have two computers running, a huge, powerful computer running. I have my other computer running on Wi-Fi. I'm sending Skype. I'm sending the stream directly to Stickam. So we'll see what happens. Listen, we're going to take another call, Joe, all right?
Thank you, Spencer. Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Thank
you. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Happy New Year, Spencer.
Happy New Year, Johnny. How are you, buddy?
Great, man. And 2012 is going to be a damn good year for you.
Your lips to God's ears, bro.
You got that. Hey, I love the camera angles. They're great.
All right, good. And how is the feed? Is it working out? Is it clear? Is the sound okay?
The feed's great. I can see what Joe's saying on the phone. You are having some issues with the phone. It's breaking up. But
okay. But on the air, it's fine.
Oh, on the air, man, it's great. The camera angles, way you're able to pan back and forth, it's just amazing. It really looks good.
All right, good. All right, well, we're working on it, and I'm probably just going to have to get another phone line in here. So it's going to have to be separate. Right now, I'm using a Vonage line that's connected to the same cable. So I'm basically splitting the bandwidth through all these sources. So we'll work it out. So what's happening?
It looks good.
Thanks.
Not much, man. How was your holidays?
Well, I barely made it back here for Christmas, and then I got back here, and about 7 minutes before New Year's, I get a call that my father pushed his ADT button and he's going to the hospital. So
I remember on one of the other shows. I think it was a Friday night or the Thursday night, one of the shows, you had mentioned it in text.
In text?
Yeah.
I
believe you did.
Oh, I wrote it. Okay.
Yeah, you wrote it in text.
Yeah.
And you were in a chat room.
Oh, yeah. It's typical. I got my dad this, ADT early warning system, or basically, it's not early warning. It's a one of those like life alert systems where if he fell or if he needed help, he can press this button. He has his pendant that he wears, and an ambulance would be dispatched. They would see if he's okay. These speakers you could hear all over the house, and he uses it like a effing call button now. He just uses it like if he has to go to the bathroom, and he presses the button. Once that button is pressed, that's it. They dispatch the ambulance. So that's what I dealt with on New Year's Eve.
Well, it's going to be better, man. 2012 is going to be a year to remember. It's going to be a great year.
Well, I hope so. And you know what? I don't disagree. I'm excited about this year. Things got off to a pretty good start for the most part. And we will, just keep providing you guys with as much information about this industry and about, what's coming down the pike for hair loss as possible. And really, to me, still what's most important is trying to guide everyone out there, the new guys out there, in a safe direction. Well, they're lucky because, years ago we didn't have a Spencer Kobren to go to for information, and
it's unfortunate that we have these young folks that are losing their hair, but at least they've got a library of information with you. We guys like Joe and I, we didn't have that. So in that regard, going ahead, 2012 is going to be a great year.
Well, listen.
Johnny, what makes you say that? So. I'm just curious.
Hey, Joe, my hair loss brother from another mother. I didn't know you were fired up, man. Happy New Year.
I have to castigate you. I didn't get a Happy New Year, man.
I beg your pardon?
I have to castigate you for the millions of listeners now. I don't even get a Happy New Year from you. I'm devastated.
Well, I thought Spencer had you potted down. That's the reason why. You know you're my hair loss brother from another mother. You know your number. Joe, if you're looking, which feed are you on in the chat rooms? Are you in the Bald Truth? Which one?
What did you say, Johnny?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but
he wants you to repeat yourself, Johnny. What did you say?
I said he's my favorite hair loss brother from another mother.
That's right.
Go
ahead, Joe, speak.
What makes you and Johnny say, say this, that 2012 will be a great year for hair loss sufferers? Can you please elaborate on that, either of you gentlemen?
We're just hoping. We're just trying to be positive, Joe, and I think that's a good attitude to take.
It's better to be positive, Joe, and think of things in a positive manner. That's what I'm trying to get my mind into a positive way of thinking, because it's so easy to get down and depressed. I mean, let's be thankful of the things we've got, and let's inch forward to the goal.
That's right, man. Joe, you got to be positive, man. Life is short. How old are you now?
Well, I've celebrated my 35th. I celebrated my 35th Christmas as a hair loss sufferer. I'm now 53 years of age.
Wow.
Well, Joe, I just want you to know this. I did miss talking to you over the holidays.
Did you hear that, Joe?
I can't understand what Johnny said. Something's going on. Could you elaborate what he said, Spencer? I didn't hear that.
He said that he missed you over the Christmas holidays. And you know what? I'm going to get another line in here, hopefully for next week's show, now that I have all this stuff going on. So we'll get everything fixed up.
And Suncast said he missed you too, Joe.
I appreciate that, Suncast. Thank you very much. Spencer, maybe when you're not so busy, you get Greg Zarion on, or Dr. Washenik, or you're a lot of people on the forums demanding now that you get an interview with Dr. Castorellis. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, and actually I'm not aware of it. I haven't been reading the forums lately. So, but they're always demanding some crap from me. I do my best, and we will get.
No, I understand that.
No, I know you understand that, but we'll get these interviews, and I'll give Craig Zarion a call or send him an email this week. I'm actually supposed to be contacting Dr. Washenik about another situation this week, so I will bring that up to him as well.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll have a cure in 2012, or maybe the world will end. That's another possibility.
Oh, come on, guys.
Well,
so listen, I think Andrew Zarion is on the line with us. Andrew, you there? He said that he was connected to me. You know what? Maybe I have to pot him up through here. Andrew, you there?
Hey, Spence.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, look at that, huh?
How's it working?
Sounds great.
It looks phenomenal.
I only hear you in one of my channels. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
What are you going to do?
It looks great, though, Spence. It's excellent.
Well, good. I'm glad. It's working out. I got to get the phones fixed now so that people can actually hear me. It's a call-in show.
Yeah, I know. People are saying that the phones are breaking up, but now, you have the money. Now you could get another connection.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. We'll do what we have to do.
I'll tell you guys though. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Joe. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'll tell you guys. This was a lot of work to get Spencer's video working.
Oh, it was a lot of work. It was a very, very stressful day, everybody. Very stressful.
Yeah, but it looks great. It was worth the work and hard work.
Joe, are you glad you can see Spencer in high def now?
Yeah, it looks. I mean, what I like about it is the different angles. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some cardboard cutouts. I have chairs here, and just have Bruce Willis there and some other people. other balding celebrities.
Just have bald people just all over the place.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, Andrew says that Yvette really isn't alive. She really doesn't exist. So you could probably put the silhouette of her in there, and have different camera angles. Am I not correct, Andrew?
Well, he spoke to her today.
Yeah. No, I do think there is a Yvette, but I don't think it's the Yvette.
He thinks it's like some huge fat slob that I live with.
No, I don't think you live with anybody. I think it's like an employee or this this person that you call whenever you want somebody to be your girlfriend,
like
or wife.
my make believe wife. I take her to events and affairs and bar mitzvahs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, I met his wife.
I wish it were that easy, dude. I
think
I wish it were that
renting
easy.
a basement in Corona.
Yeah, I live right down the road from you, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch me at Corona Ice King, lemon ice King. I want to thank you. I mean, everything looks really good. It's a pain in the ass. This has been a real royal pain in the ass. But I guess if you want something to look awesome and to be ahead of the pack, you got to make sacrifices.
Yeah, it was a tough week because we redid GFQ East this week, and GFQ West now is in running condition. So now we have 2 studios.
Yeah.
At the network.
It's
you have LA and New York.
That's pretty cool. Well, listen, I want to thank you, man, and I'm going to take some phone calls. Hopefully, we can get some more calls. And listen, if you're just tuning in, this is still the Hair Loss Show. We've been off for a few weeks. We got new studio set up, so we're kind of talking shop a little bit. But if you have any questions or concerns about your hair loss, or if you just need to vent, this is really your safe place. Let me give out the phone number: 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I'll take a phone call in a sec. So, Andrew, how's the sync, the sound? Everything is fine?
The sync is perfect. The sound is perfect. But I do have a hair loss thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it. Then I'll take a call. Go ahead.
We spoke about it this week. I've been in a panic mode all week.
Yes, you have been, and I'm sorry about that.
You're setting up an appointment for me with Dr. Bernstein.
I am. Joe, did you hear that? Joe, did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Andrew's going to see Dr. Bernstein.
Andrew went to Bernstein?
He's going to.
What, do miniaturization?
He wants to see if he's losing his hair. I mean, the other day, the last Friday Night Free-For-All we did, Chauncey Hayden called in and basically said that Andrew's losing his hair.
That's bullshit. He's not losing his hair.
And it really affected him.
Andrew, take my advice. Don't go.
No, don't
go. Do you want to know? You think I should just go in blind and lose my hair, and then one day I wake up, I'm like, oh, look, all my hair's gone. Nothing I could do now.
Like what?
Well, at least if I know, I could go on Propecia.
You're not getting surgery.
Well, he's not. He's not a
candidate.
Surgery, he's not a candidate.
What I would
do
is I would at least go on medication.
Well, you don't. Well, if you respond to it, there's only guarantees. Andrew, you said yourself a lot of aggravation, Andrew.
So what do you think I should do?
Well, look, there's no guarantees, and Joe's right, Andrew. I mean, but like I said, if you really think you're losing your hair, you know your hair better than anybody else. If you think you're losing your hair, there's a good possibility that it is happening. It's hard for me to tell. I've only known you for like a year and a half or something like that, and it doesn't look really different to me. But I don't see you in person that often. When I do see you in person, it's usually in the dark, and there's usually some drinking involved. So
we're lit most of the time.
Yeah, so we're pretty lit when we see each other. So I mean, your hair looks fantastic, but I don't know. I mean, ask Jess, ask the people around you who know you, and ask for an honest opinion.
She doesn't care. She's been skiing all weekend. She comes in and she goes straight to bed.
She doesn't care now, but if you become a Norwood 3, she's going to be like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That's why I want to do something.
Well, I think...
So you say you see Dr. Bernstein, you say, yes, you're malpam baldness. I put you on Propecia. What's going to happen?
If I go on Propecia, well, it could potentially stop or slow it down dramatically.
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I'm being honest with you. I'm not a physician.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Right.
Well, but that's true. But listen, Andrew's already been on the drug. He took it for a short period of time. He was taking some other medication, and apparently he thought he was losing hair from it, or he was. The doctor prescribed him Propecia. He had no adverse side effects for the entire month that he was on it, and he had no side effects when he decided to stop taking it. So he is definitely a candidate as far as he knows his body doesn't respond adversely to it, at least, for the short time he was on it. That's a good sign, Joe. As far as stopping the progression of his hair loss, let me tell you, I think that, we know that just about 90%, 86% of the guys that start to use the drug early on, early intervention, will stop or slow the progression of their hair loss. That's just the way that it is. So I think he has a really good chance.
Well,
I don't see the...
So OMG Victoria said my grandmother's bald, and she just left. But if your grandmother is bald, then that's in your genes on the female side, girl. So I wouldn't take birth control if I were you.
Joe, do you want to come with me?
Do I want to what?
Do you want to come with me to Bernstein?
Well, I'm going to comment on Dr. Bernstein, but I've met him once, and I'd rather not.
Well, Dr. Bernstein is, I told Andrew, he's a very matter-of-fact type of guy. That's it. There's not much of a bedside manner, at least according to some of the people that have contacted me over the years, his, former patients or current patients. But he tells it like it is, or at least the way that he sees it.
Listen, if Bauman wants to make it into like a thing, I could have a whole film crew with me, and we could document it. I'll go to Bauman.
Bauman would. He would definitely want to do it. And Dr. Bauman's he's an excellent doctor. But, the thing is, I don't know if you want to make a circus out of it, dude. It's, it's great that you're talking about it, but it's a pretty intimate thing, especially if someone actually tells you, you know what, dude, you are losing your hair. How are you going to...
I think I have to, though, Spence, to, keep me from jumping off the ledge. I kind of have to make it into, this, bit.
That's what booze is for, dude.
Yeah.
No, but listen, I'm fine. If you want to do it live on the air, if you want to do it, or Dr. Bauman has this device that he wants to, and I can't talk about it, but you know about it to some degree, that he wants to experiment with. He can send it to you, and you can kind of take your own measurements and assessment of what's happening on your scalp, and we can do that live on the air. And that might be a good first step, but I think that actually meeting with Dr. Bernstein, he's local, he's right by the strip club, I don't think I'll meet you there, but...
I'll go to him, and I'll go to the club, and I'll just cry in the breast of a stripper, and that's fine.
Yes, or several strippers. And that's what they're there for. That's what they get paid for.
So wait, Johnny thinks I shouldn't do it either?
No.
Why?
I don't think you should do it, because I don't think you're losing your hair.
You don't think I'm losing my hair?
No. If anything, if anything, it's the stress of what's going on with your shows, trying to keep things rolling. I think that's it. You're not losing your hair. I mean, your hair looks great. Again, I'm not there. I don't see you personally. But, Andrew, if you would know if you're losing your hair. You would know it.
Andrew, if I told you, you know what, Andrew, I think you're losing your hair, would you believe me?
No, I would.
You would. Well,
I would believe.
I'm telling you now that in the short period of time that I've known you, I haven't noticed your hair change. But I'm also not looking at you all the time, and I'm not. I've met you in person maybe 4 times. So in the time that I've met you, I haven't seen that change. Chauncey was a little harsh with it.
No, it's not Chauncey. It's not Chauncey that made me.
No, I know
get nutty. But I have, what it is. I've noticed. It's thinning. I'll see a lot of separation from certain hairs, in the front. I'll see separation between them that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like gaps, and I can see it's gone back a little bit on the sides, a little bit more. So it seems like it's not crazy. I'm not saying it's falling out, but I think it's a very slow process that I would like to slow down to a grinding halt.
Well, listen, that's a good sign. That's a slow process, and that you're not seeing a lot of shedding. The issue with medication, and all you guys who are considering intervention, medical intervention, need to know this. Once you start medication, it's possible to send you into a shed or a telogen effluvium. It's possible, if you're not shedding now, that you're going to start shedding, and that freaks people out. So you have to be prepared. You have to hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. Now, in most cases, that shedding will slow down or stop, and then the hair will be replaced. Great. But how are you going to deal with that if that happens? Will you be able to deal with it? What happens if it exacerbates your hair loss? What happens if it gets you from where you are today to where you might have been in 2 years, but it happened in 3 months, and then you have to kind of catch up and get that hair back? How would you deal with that?
If I know that my hair is going to come back and it's going to, for the long run, it'll.
You don't know though. We don't know. We don't. That's the thing. You don't know. Listen. When I started this, I guess I was lucky in a sense because there's a lot less information out there about it. It was when I started using Proscar, which is finasteride, same medication you'll be using as Propecia. Doctors were saying, listen, if you take this medication, you're going to grow breasts, you're going to become, feminized, you're not going to be able to have sex, you're not going to be able to have children. I was so desperate, I was just like, you know what, screw it. What do I care? I'm going to give it a shot. And as soon as I realized that I had no adverse side effects, I decided to go out there and kind of, preach the gospel about Propecia. Unfortunately, what's happening now online and, and all the stuff that we know about Propecia, including some of the stuff that we don't know, but is just being perpetuated by, I would say some ultra paranoid guys who are ultra concerned about possible side effects. There's so much information out there that people get confused. Some of it's real and some of it isn't.
So here's the thing. When I went on Propecia about 3 years ago, I knew nothing about the medication. I didn't want to do the homework. I didn't want to read about it because I knew the second I took it, I would start being like everybody else on the message forums and start saying how my penis isn't working.
Right.
Yeah. I'm my ass hurts and my foot hurts. I would have done all of that.
Right, all of a sudden you're depressed because of and you have brain fog and you have all the stuff that people talk about, and then you get it.
No, so I took it without doing any homework. I took it for a month. I had no side effects. I can't say that it worked because my hair was falling out because of a medication I was on.
Right.
So when I stopped that medication, my hair came back. It stopped falling out and it was able to grow back. So I don't know if Propecia helped. I don't know, but Propecia didn't hurt.
I will tell you that in a month's time, it's really unlikely that it did anything for you positive. But the fact that you were not experiencing any adverse side effects, that means a lot. And that's, that's
like I didn't see shedding. I didn't feel like anything that they say on the message boards. I mean, it was almost like it was a non-event. I just took it. It could have been, candy for all I know.
Right.
It didn't matter.
It may have been candy. Where'd you get it?
I don't know. Dr. Rosenberg.
I told you about the Jewish doctors.
Oh, that's the only ones you go to.
I know. That's the only. Well, I like to go to Asians because I look really big when I take my pants off. But that's my issue. So. Anyway.
But I mean, I didn't experience any problems, so that's why I kind of want to go on it.
Well, I think that, and we have Joe Tronick in the room, who is just a guy who, I mean, he's been around the block forever. 10, I don't know. I don't know if it's 10 hair transplants, but multiple. Maybe it's 10. Is it 8, 6? I don't know. Whatever it is, he's been on finasteride forever. I don't know if he's been taking dutasteride, but I know that he knows a lot of guys who have been taking dutasteride. And he can kind of give you the skinny as well if you ever want to talk to him. Or you can, 10 years. Wow. Happy New Year. Took dutasteride for 2 years. So, Joe, did you have any adverse side effects from dutasteride?
Which Joe is this? One
yeah, this is Joe. This is Joe Tillman, Joe Tronick, who actually is a kind of like an online hair loss celebrity, and he also happens to work with Hassan and Wong. He said that he got fat from dutasteride. Well, that's not so bad. That's not terrible. But yeah, dude. I mean, I've been on finasteride forever. You've seen me in person. I am in relatively decent shape, and I don't think that it really affected me the way that a lot of guys claim it affects them. So
I don't know. We'll see, right?
Joe said he gained a few pounds in his penis. Good for you. Good for you. God, 4 ounces in your penis is a huge thing. You can gain 4 ounces. Make a lot of money. Anyway, sorry, man.
So Johny and Joe both on the phone are telling me not to go and see the doctor.
I don't don't necessarily think that's the best advice now because you're so hyper concerned. Now, I told you not to do anything before for a long time because I thought they would just, if you found out that you had miniaturization, you would lose your mind. But now that you're noticing things and you're saying, you know what, I see a change, I think it's probably a good idea to get it checked out so you know for sure. And then you can make an educated decision on what you want to do. Who knows? Maybe, you'll cut your hair short even before you do anything and see how you look. You may look great and just say, screw it. I was speaking to a friend who has been wearing hair for the last 20 years who contacted me, and now he wants to get some other, like a shading type of procedure done. And he's willing to shave his head very, very short. He had some bad hair transplants that he wants to get the scarring fixed with maybe some micro tattoos, which I'm not a huge fan of, but he's talking to me about it. And he just said, you know what? He just wishes he would have just had the balls to shave his head a long time ago instead of dealing with what he's been dealing with for the last 20 years, including medications and transplants that didn't go well, and then feeling that he was imprisoned by this hairpiece. So you may want to step back and say, you know what, maybe it's best if I just let this go. You're making some money now. You're getting bigger by the month. No pun intended. You're married to a beautiful woman. Maybe, if you can come to grips with the fact that you're not going to have this perfect hair for the rest of your life, maybe that's the healthiest way to go.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
But say Dr. Bernstein examines his scalp for miniaturization and says to him, look, Andrew, you're destined to be a Norwood 6. What's Andrew's reaction to that going to be?
So he would tell me, well, I don't think he would know, right? He wouldn't know how much hair I'm going to lose.
He would know. He would have an idea.
They could have an idea. There's nothing written in stone, but they can tell by looking at what, different areas of your scalp, seeing how much hair is miniaturizing throughout the entire scalp, if in fact you're going to progress to a certain Norwood scale. It's pretty accurate. I think it's pretty accurate, especially they're going to assess your family history. And you have you're going to have to be completely forthright with your family history. And,
the minute he tells him his maternal grandfather is Norwood 6, that ain't good. I'm sorry.
If he turns around and says, "Listen, you're going to be a Norwood 6," I would still go on the medication and I would wait until my hair fell out, and I would see if I'm a candidate for surgery.
Oh, and Froggy's like, and pray that bangs come back into style. What do you mean they're out of style? They're not out of style, are they? Bangs? I've been wearing bangs for God. Anyway, that's my comb over joke. It didn't go over well. I don't know. I need a live audience so I can get some instant reaction.
You get the cardboard cutter.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I went to a certain doctor. I won't mention any names. He creeped me out. He wanted to actually cut the hair out of my head. After I saw him, I went to my local bar and got inebriated. So, Andrew, I don't want you to freak out.
Joe, you go to your local bar and get inebriated no matter who you see. It doesn't matter if you see a doctor, if you want to go to your mechanic. Any excuse you have to go drinking, you'll take. Nothing wrong with that.
Andrew, just take my advice as a friend. Don't do it. Don't fix it ain't broke.
But I think I should know. Trouble. I think I should know if my hair is falling out.
You're not
it's going to consume your life. It's going to consume everything in your life.
It already does. It already does consume my life. I since meeting Spencer, it's gotten even worse.
Yeah, and that was never my intention. That's the problem. When people meet me, it could be a very positive experience, but once they start to talk about the hair thing, I have known guys in my life, friends that I've met over the years, that never really thought about it until they met me and then started to focus on it, and now they're bald.
No, I've always focused on it. I remember I was a kid and I watched Married with Children, the one where Al takes the birth control pills and he grows this crazy stallion-like hair.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm like, well, maybe I could try that.
And why don't you just wait a year maybe, see what happens the next year. See what any new treatments come down the pike that could really help you. So don't do anything, Andrew, please. You're going to freak out, man. I think your psychiatrist do have some psychiatric problems. I mean that respectively. I don't think you just handle it. Man.
You mean that respectively, or respectfully?
I know exactly what the doctor's going to say. I'm not a physician, but I feel it on my bones.
I don't know.
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to try to take a break. I have no. This is a brand new computer, so I have to figure out how I'm going to get some music through here. I guess I can do it through my 360. May have to play the same songs I opened with. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. Phone number 888-659-3727, 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay with us.
I always hear a lot of guys calling in, and they're always like, down and out about their haircuts.
Sure.
I lost my hair when I was 16 to 17 years old.
That's heavy.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's all good, man. And the funny thing is that I've learned to overcome it, and I've had a much I'm much more empowered to be myself now.
Well, I admire that.
Oh no, it's cool, dude. Let me tell you, it took a long time.
I wanna scream, I wanna shout, I wanna know what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is amazing about all the bad transplants you do see out there. I mean, I was on the train the other day, and I saw 3 guys in one car,
yeah,
the subway. That it was horrible. It was a horror show. I mean, they didn't hear you, and that's a problem. That's why you have to guys get out there and get as mainstream as you can.
You got to pull yourself together, man. You got to get back on your feet again. How can I ever make you understand? You got the will right in your hand.
I went to Dr. Bernstein only because of you guys. God forbid I would have went to somebody else like Bosley. Bottom line, I'm begging anybody out there, before you go and get surgery, before you walk into these hair clubs to someplace, I'm telling you right now, I am $20,000 in the hole, and 10 years of stress, the last 3, an absolutely horrifying existence of stress and pain. And I can promise you, the stress of this hairpiece is 1,000 times more than I would have ever felt if I had just been confident with who I am, dealt with the fact that these are the cards I've been dealt, and deal with them, and just shave my head. And honestly, like Spencer said, not everyone's there, but that's where I'm at.
You kind of have an effect on people, You bring them around.
Hey guys, welcome back. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. I'm Spencer Kobren, live from Los Angeles. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth, self-help radio for guys, and of course, for girls who get it. Listen, 2/3 of you guys by the age of 35 will suffer with some degree of hair loss. 40% of hair loss sufferers are women. This is a silent epidemic of biblical proportions that affects just about every household in this country and around the world, and that's why we do this program. Took a couple of weeks off, I kind of did some shows from, my dad's apartment, and, then I ended up taking New Year's off and, Christmas as usual. I guess, what am I going to do? It's Christmas. Who's going to be watching the show on Christmas? But we are back, here to answer your questions, here to talk about everything and anything hair loss. Listen, guys, if you want to share your experiences, besides calling the program at 888-659-3727, you can go to our online message forum, and I want to thank all of my message forum users for making Bald Truth Talk the fastest growing message forum, hair loss message forum on the internet. We have surpassed numbers in traffic of forums that have been around for 12 years, 11 years. And it's amazing what we've been able to accomplish with a relatively new forum that's only 3 years old. So if you want to share your experiences, talk to other people, learn from people who are dealing with exactly what you're dealing with, check out baldtruthtalk.com. Join the forum, ask your questions. We have experts in the field who come online and are there to help you. So, feel free. That's www.baldtruthtalk.com. Our phone number, 888-659-3727. I'm going to pot Andrew back up if he's still there. Andrew, you there? I don't think he's there. He probably hung up.
Hey,
Hey. And, I'm going to tell you, Andrew, that, my advice at this point, since you truly believe that you're dealing with hair loss, is why not get it checked out? And now I can't, I'm not getting your...
Hey, can you hear me?
Sound. Now I can, yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
You still have to learn this system.
I do?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
It's all right.
I didn't do anything.
In the room, I'm looking at the chat room, and they're saying, at most Bernstein will say start Rogaine or Propecia, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with him saying, start a medication, but I would rather start it early than a little too late.
Well, that's the whole point. Early intervention is the key to success when it comes to stopping the progression of your hair loss. But in some cases, there's a price to pay. And it really depends on whether or not you're capable of dealing with the possible downsides of using any medication to treat your hair loss. And one possible downside is exacerbating the hair loss or hastening the process, which it doesn't happen a lot with finasteride in my view. And if it does, it will normally reverse, but that's a possibility. So I don't know what else to tell you.
I guess I'll try. I'll go. I'll see what he says, and I'll take it from there.
All right, good. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for hooking up.
Good luck, Andrew.
Yeah, with the computer. And
it's phenomenal. The video looks great. You're adding another camera for next week's show, so you're gonna have 3 cameras.
Yes.
It's gonna keep getting better.
I'm doing one under the desk.
Just the crotch cam.
It's the crotch cam. Yeah.
That'll be great.
I mean, what am I going to do? I got 2 cameras, just 2 shots of myself, which is great, but I don't have anybody doing the show here with me. It's not like you. So what am I going to do? Put it against, the flat screen, or just have, I don't know, I'll have my dog sitting in the chair over there.
Yeah, you can put the dog there. You know what you need to do? We're also going to do like a Skype video.
Right.
Your shot.
Yeah.
You should have Joe, and like the regulars, Johnny, Joe, and George, whoever wants to call in, they could call in and Skype right into the studio.
Well, that's what I would like to do. I'll give these guys, but Joe's not going to do it, and I don't know if Johnny's going to want to do that either. But you could always be in the shadows, guys. But you guys are going to have the opportunity to just call in, and if you want to contact me and give me your Skype information, we're going to set up a special Skype line just for the show where you guys can call in and your faces will be right on camera. So I think that'll be, pretty fun and pretty cool. And, this way, anyone who has a question about their hair loss, they can actually show me, hey, let me see your scalp, and I'll tell you whether or not I think you're losing your hair.
It's actually a really good idea.
Right, Johnny? Are you going to go? Are you
Sure.
Are you going to Skype in? You can wear your hat.
I don't know how to Skype, but I guess I can learn.
Yeah. Well, if you know how to get on Stickam, you know how to Skype.
Okay.
It's very easy. Joe, I know you're not going to do it.
Well, Spence, I prefer a theater of the mind. I've been with you for 14 years.
I do too. I would love if this show was just on the radio, but that ship has sailed. That's no longer the case. This is broadcasting today, period. This is
the new medium.
This is the way people are going to, if they're not broadcasting this way, they're going to have to. So.
Can I ask you a question, Spencer? I'm not trying to criticize, but I'm a little surprised that you did tell our good friend Andrew to be examined by our doctor.
Listen, I've been trying to help Andrew avoid this reality for a long time. But when someone tells me they are sure that they're losing their hair and they need to know, then I think it would be remiss of me to not give them the opportunity to help themselves.
But his paternal grandfather is bald, as you know. That's not right there. That's a precursor to probably what the diagnosis is going to be, in my opinion.
All right. So then, if you think the guy's going bald, why shouldn't he go get help?
And this guy's, going to tell him that. He's not, I'm not trying to criticize the doctor, but his way of putting things that kind of like freak you out sometimes. I mean,
Andrew's a big boy. I think he can handle it at this point.
I think I could deal with it.
He's got a guy that's Skyping in, Chauncey Hayden, that's basically saying, hey, Andrew, you're going bald.
It's all right.
And
yeah, I don't think it was like Herman Munster.
Yeah, exactly.
He takes Propecia, and he has a massive shed. What is he going to do then? I mean, I'm frightened.
What he's going to do then? I'm going to be on Skype a lot at 2 o'clock in the morning. I know that.
All right. I just hope he doesn't blame you because, I don't want you to see.
He's not going to blame because I told him. I'm warning him. I'm telling him what could happen, Joe. No one else is going to tell him. You go to any doctor, they're going to say, take this pill. It works because it does work. But it's unlikely they're going to warn him of the possibility of hastening the balding process, going through a telogen effluvium or massive shed. That's something. And my advice to Andrew is to shave his head and move on. He's got those crazy eyebrows and that wicked jawline. The guy can get away with a shaved head. And if I could have, I would have, but that just wasn't for me. So I grow it real long in the back, like a retard. Is that politically incorrect? And
no,
just
mongoloid is fine.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And just, well, I don't mean mentally disabled person. I mean, like an idiot. That's how I deal with my hair loss. And I just got a haircut. I was talking about this earlier. Just got a haircut this week, and I'm looking at the effort this guy's putting into just allowing a certain portion of my hair to grow so long and not cutting it. And he really knows my hair. And once he wets it and he combs it back, it's about this long. It's ridiculous. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, holy cow, I've been doing this for a long, long ass time. But what are you going to do, right, Joe?
It's artwork, Spence.
Well,
it's a work of art. It's the sculpture. That's what I call it, and that's what it is.
Well, I've seen you several occasionally. You're pretty damn good to me, man.
Yes, I do, and I appreciate that because I'm lucky enough to have saved a lot of hair. That's it. And I think Andrew wants to be in the same position. So I'm not saying Andrew's going to be perfect. Even if he starts Propecia, it may just slow things down. He may end up having to spray paint his head. I don't know.
I'll be fine with that as long as I start doing something now.
Right.
I don't want to wait another 3 years where it's gone even further back and you can't get it back.
Right.
I mean, I've heard people calling your show a ton of times, and you've said, if you started possibly, and they say this themselves, if I started the treatment early, I could have prevented a lot of my hair loss.
Well, yes, they could have. But again, Joe is not incorrect in saying, there's a caveat, there's a warning. You have to understand that it's always possible that things aren't going to go your way. And if you're prepared for that, then I'd say, you're 27 years old, you're mature enough to make this decision. If it's not going to destroy your life to lose more hair because of the medication, because eventually if you're losing your hair, you're going to lose it anyway. So.
But if I was on it for a month and I didn't see any kind of shedding, is that too short of a period to notice any kind of shedding? Or
there are guys who will notice shedding within the first month. It's rare though, but it does happen. I would say that you give it if usually something will affect your hair. To affect your hair, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to be in your system, or some sort of a trauma, whatever it is, and then you're going to deal with the telogen effluvium, unless it is actual physical trauma like surgical hair restoration or an accident, for instance. But anything that you actually put into your body that's going to affect your hair loss, a chemical, drug, what have you, it's going to take several weeks for that to actually be visible as far as seeing a shed. So 4 weeks may have been enough. Some people don't start to shed until 3 months in. But, usually the guys that I've known that have started to shed 3, 4, 5, 6 months in, they usually regain that hair. I went through a shed. I remember I started the drug, I think it was in March or April, and I went through a shed that year, in a tremendous shed in August. No one was talking about shedding at that point. I just thought that the drug wasn't working for me, so I upped my dosage to 7.5 milligrams a day. Took that for about, several months. Anyway, the shed just stopped, and the hair that I lost did grow back, and I never really cycled into major sheds. It just seemed to. I've been extremely fortunate over the years. I may have had about 3 or 4 significant sheds since I've been on the drug, but for the most part, the hair has come back. So you just have to be prepared for it, dude. Just be prepared. As long as you're prepared, you'll be okay.
We'll see what
I
happens.
just caution Andrew not to drive in that day. Please take public transportation
to
Jesus. And from.
You don't want to come with me? I was thinking you would meet up with me and you would hold my hand when I go into the doctor's office.
Well, I'd rather. I can't comment to what I really can't comment. I think Spencer knows what I mean, and I can't comment on the air.
I don't know what he's talking about.
You know what I exactly?
Are you talking? You're talking about Bob?
Yeah, I rather not. I can't. I can't comment.
But listen, you can comment. Bob Bernstein is a very matter-of-fact type of guy. He's not going to. He's going to tell you like it is. He's going to say what he feels. What's on his mind is on his tongue. He's not going to pull any punches. And if Andrew's balding, he's going to say, "You're balding. Here's a script. If you want to take it." He'll explain what the drug is, how it works, and what his opinion of it is, and that's it. And then he'll send you on your way.
The reason I'm freaked out is because he wanted to cut my hair out of my top and turn me into a bald man. I mean, that kind of freaked me out.
You see, he lives as a bald man. Bob Bernstein is very comfortable in his own skin. He shaves his head, basically. He's lived that way since he's a very young man. And to him, he thought that you would, fare pretty well with a bald head as well. And that, his suggestion was just cut it down, shave it down, and let's remove some of the old plugs, some of the, the very visible plugs. And that's not a bad suggestion.
How would I explain to my wife while I turn myself into a bald man if I'm so interested in having more hair that I'd have less hair?
I don't think she would be surprised, Joe. I think she would be like, oh, here's another thing Joe did.
Well, yeah, maybe it would just be like, you know what? I want to be liberated, Phyllis. I don't want to worry about this anymore. Do you know how many people out there that have gone through wearing hair pieces for years and have had surgery that have decided, you know what? Screw it. I've been dealing with this for 20 years. I'm going to shave my head now. And so many guys that I see in the airport with the smiley face scars from past hair transplants that just have the balls to shave their head and say, you know what? I want to be free of this prison. That's not such a bad thing. There are days when, and again, I'm very fortunate. I've saved a lot of hair, but there are days when I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to have to throw this hat on or paint the back of my head to leave the house. There are plenty of days I have to deal with that. But then I feel very fortunate that I have those options. So.
Well, if I could do it all over again and go back in time and tell my past self, I'd say don't do anything. Shave your head or cut it close. Live life as a bald man. That's your best option.
Well, listen, I don't think Andrew's going to do that. Andrew's got to run though. So
I do have to.
Andrew, listen, thanks for setting up the computer for me. I think so far things are working pretty well.
So far, so good.
It only took me 10 hours to get this set up today.
Listen, it's only going to get better. It's going to
right.
improve the show.
All right, man. Listen, I appreciate it. Say goodnight to Jess and have fun. All right, later.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Andrew.
888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. 888-659-3727. Again, I want to thank. It's 2012. I want to thank everyone for really supporting what we've been doing for the last 14 years. I want to thank all of the guys who have really embraced the online webcast and really brought it to the level that it is today. We are one of the most watched live internet broadcasts online, which is insane to me, but it's just the way that it is. And now that we're being syndicated through the GFQ network, our boy Suncast is, helping me or actually doing it, editing the broadcast, helping us to get it out there and distribute it online, which is incredible. We're getting more and more people viewing the archived broadcast of the show, and it's only going to grow. So I want to thank everyone over at GFQ, and of course I want to thank Andrew Zarian and Suncast, especially Suncast, for doing all the hard work that he does for the show. You probably don't realize it's Suncast, but you're helping a lot of people by doing what you're doing. So anyway, 888-659-3727. Feel free to give us a call here at The Bald Truth if you have any questions, concerns about your hair loss, or if you just need to vent. And if you're a woman dealing with hair loss, listen, you guys should check out womenshairlossproject.com. Excuse me. I say this all the time. Women are just so much different when it comes to supporting each other online or anyplace else. You go to the message forums on Bald Truth Talk, and guys are at each other's throats. But the women really, and that's not true for every guy. So, it's a very supportive community. I'd say we have one of the most supportive communities for men out there. But the women's community and what is being done and accomplished on Women's Hair Loss Project is amazing to me, because it started off as a little site that grew into really one of the most popular women's hair loss sites in the world right now. And the network has grown to the point where these women are actually showing their images, putting their faces out there, dealing with, an issue that society doesn't really allow women to deal with, especially publicly, and they're putting themselves out there to help other women. It's amazing. So if you're dealing with hair loss, if you think you're at your wit's end and you don't know what to do, and you're sitting at home, you're depressed, you're not dating, there is life after hair loss, even for women. And there are women out there that are wearing hair. You would never even know it. They look beautiful. They live their lives, and they learn how to cope. And that's what this is about. I'm not here to offer you a cure for hair loss. I'm not here to tell you that every product or treatment that we recommend is going to help you. But I'm hoping that you're going to walk away from this show, or you're going to come away after, using our resources or coming to this program with a sense that there is life after hair loss, that you can be helped emotionally, and that the truth is, as devastating as hair loss is, there are worse things in life that people have to come to grips with.
No way.
Yeah. No way. Sorry, Joe.
Sorry, I don't want. I think I was potted up. I just hearing that I was freaking out.
Oh, what are you going to do? I just got a private message. I can't click onto that, dude. Sorry. My computer will go haywire. I'll look at it later. Joe's writing me. I just want you to know, Joe, that I have always disagreed with that. And I'm the hair loss guy. I'm the guy that really has coined the term, this is a disease of the spirit or a cancer of the spirit. I'm the guy that kind of understands it as well as anybody else, that I truly suffered as a young man when I was going through the initial throes of hair loss. I did not expect it, unlike you. And I had, I wasn't equipped to deal with it. And there was nothing out there to help me deal with it. Now there are resources for all of you guys to help yourselves and to eventually become comfortable in your own skin. It's not easy. Listen, Marcus said it perfectly. Hair loss sufferers, there is life after hair loss, but it's almost like a half a life because you're never fully comfortable in the way that you were before you started to deal with this process. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy like me who's been lucky enough to pull off the old shambooey with the comb over and the hairspray and all that stuff and still look, like I have a pretty decent head of hair. Or if you're a guy like you, Joe, who has been through the mill, there's different levels of dealing with this, and I still believe that you can be helped emotionally and, with your hair loss itself. So, listen, guys, I'm going to take another phone call. Let's see. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just one quick comment. Don't you agree that hair loss is the only disease that could dramatically change every aspect of your life, those around you, and vice versa? In other words, has changed the future of your life among other people's lives.
What about losing a limb? What about having being burned in a fire? What about having some sort of a severe form of eczema or psoriasis?
Respectfully, you misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying that this disease has not only changed my life, people's around me. It changed my whole future.
Of course it did. But imagine if you are someone who deals with severe allergies where you can't eat normal foods, or if you put something, or if you put something on your skin, it completely, you're dealing with severe acne, rosacea, which changes your life, changes your mood, changes the people's lives around you because you're dealing with the same type of depression, if not worse, than hair loss. There's so many people, Joe, that suffer with much worse than what we're suffering with. People with chronic, severe psoriasis all over their scalps and their faces and their bodies. People with vitiligo who lose portions of the pigment of their skin. So, listen, believe me, I do what I do. This is all I do. This is how I make my living. This is what I preach. I understand how serious it is. But there's worse out there, Joe. 888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Spencer. How's it going?
Hey, high pitch, man. How are you?
Good. How's everything with you?
You know what? Everything is becoming a little bit more palatable than I had to deal with the last couple of months. But yeah, things are getting better.
Well, that's good news.
So what's going? I know the phones are a little screwed up. So if there's a problem, if you can't hear me, just ask me to repeat myself.
Yeah, just you're somewhat broken up.
We'll try to fix that for next week.
I think I can manage to hear you.
All right, good. So what's happening with you?
Yeah, just nothing new. Just actually been pretty busy with work and everything. And anyway, I've had other issues. Not with my hair, with my teeth.
What's going on? What's going on with your teeth?
What's going on with my teeth?
Yeah.
Is that what you asked?
Yes.
I just have to, believe it or not, I have to have some implants put in. Well, that's nothing to believe or not, but I still have some baby teeth in my mouth, if you can believe that.
Wow.
At 47.
How does that happen?
I don't know, but it did.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's kind of taken my mind off of the hair thing, but getting back to that. Well, first, I want to back up a little bit and say Happy New Year to you and Joe and Johnny and George and everybody, Andrew, and I hope this is a better year for everybody.
Hey, man, Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for that, and I do too. You know, I'm a very positive I try to be a very positive person. I try to be, really hopeful for good things to come.
Yeah, well, just keep the faith up, but I have to go and see Bernstein myself. You guys were talking about that with Andrew, so I have to go in there to get some finasteride. I've just been putting it off. I've been busy, like I say, with work, but that's basically it. I've been I kind of keep myself busy and keep my mind off of the hair thing.
Yeah, look, you have to stay busy, man. This crap will drive you crazy if you let it get you. You're gonna end up, sadly, being like Joe, who has. I know he's committed his life and a part of his life to really working hard and being a part of the show, which is it's been a very positive experience for everybody. But the rest of his life is just, according to him, has not been wonderful, to say the least. I'm going to pot him up because of his hair loss, and he's really limited himself because of his hair loss, and I get that. But
well, the only thing I can say about that, Spencer, is obviously some people can be bald and it doesn't bother them at all. It just has no effect on them.
Absolutely.
That's why I say it's more of a mental thing than actually the physical part of it.
That's right.
The physical appearance. And it's all how you can deal with it. I myself couldn't deal with it that good, and that's why I kind of rushed into things. And I was young, and I made a lot of bad choices and mistakes. And that part of it, it just, what I had, all the scarring in the back and all of that, and the bad surgery, that bothers me, obviously.
Of course, I get.
But
that.
I put on my, I just put on my hat and live my life.
Well, you're one of the guys that are able to deal with it. And same with Johnny Ohio. I'm going to pot him up. Johnny's a guy that just puts on a hat and lives his life, goes to work, and as depressed as he is about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, he still managed to have a pretty decent life.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all you can do. I mean, but I'm not saying I'm living my life the way I want to live it, though. But I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, what's going on with your social life? Anything?
It's not really a lot. I just, I'd say this is a big part of the problem, obviously.
Well, you at least go out and get yourself a nice massage once in a while?
What's that now?
I said, you at least go out and get yourself a nice massage once in a while, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's no problem there.
All right, good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've never not trying to pat myself on the back. I've never had a problem with, I don't know, I guess attracting women. It's just my hair thing totally stops me.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I get it. That's what hookers are for. Guys, I'm just kidding.
That's
It's
right.
illegal. That's illegal in most states. It's just, just a joke.
Is Rich married? Is Cat married? Does he work? I'm a little confused exactly what he does. May I ask those two questions?
I'm having a real problem hearing you guys tonight.
Yeah,
Are you married, Rich, and do you work?
Richard,
I was married a long time ago. And actually, after I got my divorce, and I think that was by the time I was 25, that's when the hair loss started getting worse. It wasn't really bad. It was just receding in the front corners. And I kind of wanted to, make myself look better again, get back to the way I used to look, and just didn't make any good choices in the doctors I picked. And the procedures back then were somewhat crude, so.
That's what really it really bugs me when and you're right, they were crude. But I remember this doctor came up to me. I was at an ISHRS conference in Vegas a few years ago. And a guy that has a really bad reputation for being a butcher came up to me, and he had a couple of drinks in him, and we were at a cocktail party. And he's like, "Oh, the great Spencer Kobren." Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Kobren. What you don't realize is that we were limited back in the day. Our hands were tied. And we were working with and you brought up the word crude, very crude type of, cosmetic surgery. He used the word crude. And he said that there were limitations in the technology. And that's why there are so many unhappy people. And I just said, well, I'm not going to mention his name. You didn't have to perform the surgery. If you knew there was something wrong with it, if you knew that you were damaging people, if you knew that people were unhappy, why perform the surgery? And he said, well, that's all we had, and people wanted hair. That was his answer. And I said, I'm not going to mention his name. I said,
They just don't care, and it just grieves. And
well, after that little like quasi tipsy speech, I said, you know what, so and so, why don't you have another drink? And I don't think he liked that. I don't think that probably wasn't the most diplomatic way to deal with things. I was very calm about it, but it just really pissed me off that this guy would have the balls to come up to me and say the reason he damaged so many people, and this guy damaged a lot of people, allegedly. Why would you continue to do what you're doing if you know that you're damaging people? That's what I don't get. And the only reason that I can think of is the guy was making a great living. He figured, you know what? This is what we have now. Yeah. People want it. They're going to want it whether it's great or not. And I'm going to make a mint doing it. It's just the way
he just made a great living, and he made a living out of ruining people's lives. That's what he really did.
Well, what's interesting is that this guy is pretty well known. He is very involved in the societies, and in that particular society. He's worked for some large chain clinics, or a large chain clinic as well, and he continues to practice to this day. And he also claims to be a religious man. So I don't know, man. The whole thing is just it's a mess. So that's why we do what we do, and that's why Joe Tronick, who's watching the show tonight, does what he does. Joe has turned away probably more patients than he, through consultations than he's actually booked for surgery. Because he's one of the few in the field, in my view, that is really honest with, and look, he makes a living doing, hair transplant consultations and other things for a hair transplant clinic. But he's very honest. If you go and see Joe for a consultation through Hassan and Wong, he's going to tell you whether or not you need a hair transplant. If you don't need one, he's not going to sell you one. And that's one of the things that I admire about Joe, amongst other things, the fact that he's got a slamming wife, which is, she's amazing. And he's a good guy in general. So,
well, that's what you need, is somebody that's honest, and he's lived, he's gone through it, so he could be more compassionate and understanding.
Yes.
And, with somebody's feelings. But basically myself, I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, if I could turn the clock back, I'm definitely one of those people that wish that I never did anything, because, basically if I was unhappy being, I won't say bald, but a hair loss sufferer.
Yeah.
So be it. I put on a hat, and that's what I'm doing now anyway. But to really, I mean, maybe I'm playing off my hair looks. It actually probably looks better than what it is.
Yeah.
But every time I've gone to these doctors for repair work, the last doctor I went to was Dr. Oh, well, I won't say that. That's not really true. He was one of the last doctors, Dr. Bernstein. So basically saying, yeah, I can do this for you. But it was like the previous doctor was basically saying, yeah, well, you're all set. And it's like, so he's still seeing more work that needs to be done. I'm seeing it. I know I'm not seeing it.
Right.
I know I'm not seeing things. I guess that's what I'm trying to make the point of here. But I just don't think we were on the same page what I wanted to have done. But I think, actually, I would like to see Dr. Hassan and Wong and have them look at me for some repair work.
Yeah. Well,
And,
Joe Tronic is actually holding on the line, and he's complaining about the very choppy sound from the phone. And Joe, it's my bandwidth, man. I just don't have enough bandwidth to run my phone lines and all this equipment on one line, and I have to get another line. So let's see if he could respond to you, Rich. Hold on. Hey, Joe. Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries, Spencer. How you doing, buddy?
I can't complain, man. Hanging in there.
Happy New Year to you. I'm glad you're back online. I've been waiting eagerly to see you back on Stickam.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So welcome
that, man.
back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So what's up?
By the way, how's your pop?
He's the same. I appreciate you asking, though. He's getting old, man. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Understand. So, Rich, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in somewhat broken up. I'm trying as hard as I can to.
Well, Rich,
to,
why don't you? Well, maybe you should hang up and just listen to Joe, and he can give you some advice, and you could always contact him after the show or whenever.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rich, you're more than welcome to call me at the office tomorrow or any time this week. I'd be really happy to talk to you about your situation. I didn't catch everything about your history. Whether I think you had surgery in the past. Is that right, Spencer?
Yeah, he had a couple of surgeries.
Okay. Well, I obviously don't know the extent of the work and the quality of the work, but there are always options. And I know what it's like being in a position where you don't think that anything can be done, or you don't know who to believe when everyone's saying that something can be done. It is an emotional minefield going through this. But I'm happy to talk to you in more depth. If you could send me photos and things like that, I'd really be happy to talk to you about this.
Hey, that's great. I really appreciate that.
Not a problem. I memean, it's like Spencer said, I do turn guys away all the time because it's not the right move for surgery. Tell them about the medications and things like that, and it is because I have been in that position where I wish someone had told me no, 22 years ago. I mean, hindsight, I'm glad I went through the bad surgeries because it made me who I am today. And I don't mean Joe Tronic, the hair transplant consultant, but going through what I went through helped me to deal with other issues in life that I probably couldn't have dealt with, or would have dealt with in a different way that might not have been so productive, if that makes any sense. In other words, dealing with that pluggy mess I had on my head all through my 20s, it forced me to face life in general head on.
Well,
right?
that actually makes a lot of sense. And I always say that going through what I went through early on in my life and having to deal with just the initial process, and then people reacting to the process, and then becoming depressed by it, and everything else. Once I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, figure out a way to deal with it for myself, and kind of built this career, I have been able to deal with things, like you said, in a much different way than I probably would have dealt with them if this didn't happen to me. And a lot of people don't see it as a blessing, but I feel very fortunate. Very fortunate that, you know what, whatever. I have to paint my head. I got to deal with the comb over. It's a little uncomfortable. Well, I'm comfortable with it because I do. This is what I do, so I talk about it all the time. So it's kind of like it's put out of the way as soon as I meet somebody. But in general, initially, I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. It was very difficult to deal with life head on, like you said. So I think it's a blessing, and I think that, what Rich has gone through, he's been through a lot, and he's still able to deal with life, and he was married, and he's still able to, like you said, still attract women and stuff like that. I think that's a great attitude. I think more people just need to just deal with it, and you become more equipped as the years go by to deal with the more serious stuff in life.
Yeah, it's a matter of time and experience, and it all makes perfect sense. And different people have their individual levels of acceptance and what they have to go through to make change in their lives. Dealing with a pluggy mess on my head, and a lot of guys do this. They'll do one of two things. I think I've talked to you about this, Spencer. Is you either overcompensate with your personality and become more outgoing, or you turn around and do a 180 and become a hermit living under a hat, and your social life is destroyed, right? And I don't think that there's really so much of a middle ground. I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's more common. You do one or the other. And like I said, I feel fortunate that I did that. I mean, if I were to be in the same position as I was 20 years ago, right before my surgery, if I knew I was going to be as bald as I eventually became, I would never have been Jotronic. I would be a head shaver, and who knows where I'd be.
Right.
Because I do know that I look good with a shaved head, and I almost took that route 10 years ago, right before I had my first repair surgery with Dr. Wong. I almost became a head shaver, even though I had 2 stacked donor scars. I couldn't give 2 flips about the scars. The only thing that prevented me from becoming a head shaver was simply the pluggy mess that was on my head.
Right.
Once it's shaved, once, like 2 days later when it starts to pop through, it looks like tree stumps. Right. And that was the challenge for me. That's the only reason why I didn't become a head shaver 10 years ago.
Well, a lot of guys are put in that position, unfortunately, and a lot of guys just feel stuck. They're trapped, and they have this need to continue to repair the old work. And in some cases, it's great. In some cases, I think there are ways to cut your losses.
Yeah.
And I think I lost Rich. And one way to cut your loss is to just get some get some of the plugs removed, some of the larger grafts removed, or just dissected, and then just deal with it that way. And if you're lucky enough not to be not to scar too much from that, there are guys that have done that and they're able to shave their head and kind of camouflage the fact that they had prior bad work done and they lived their lives. I know a guy that he's called the show for many years. He's a friend of mine. He actually gave me a call last night, and he's been wearing a piece for 20 years, and he is fed up. He's like, I want out of this prison. He had a bad hair transplant 20 years ago, and that's why he feels stuck under this piece. He's considering something that I just can't recommend at this point because I haven't seen any really great work except for some repair work, but he's considering this micropigmentation or head tattooing. What are your thoughts about that, Joe? You know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm complete in the Spencer Kobren camp on that. It's unproven as of today. It's like the great I don't know, all these other treatments out there that are supposed to be fantastic, but you hear or see 1 or 2 results that are from a distance with a Vaseline on the camera lens, and you can't really see what's going on. I look at it like this. If it's all that in a bag of chips, it'd be everywhere. You'd see it everywhere. There'd be clear high definition videos. There'd be big, bold photos that you can see.
Well, you know what's amazing, Joe? There's a UK company that is now opened in New York. They have 5 locations across the world, and they're growing exponentially. And
is that HIS? HIS?
Yes, and it's just absolutely amazing to me. And the truth is, I've always had an open mind with any possible treatment or anything that would help to ease the pain of a hair loss sufferer. And honestly, I can't wrap my brain around this, because no matter what is said, there's no such thing as a true black or true colors that will not fade as far as tattoos are concerned. And people will then be in another prison where even if the color remains for a few years, they can't get sun on their scalps. They, have to alter their lifestyles just like they would if they were wearing hair or had a hair transplant.
Yeah, it goes back to the same basic that I always tell everyone. There's no having your cake and eating it too when it comes to hair loss. You either go all in and shave it off and move on, or you commit yourself to some sort of regimen to maintain what you've done to make it look like you have more hair.
Right.
And anytime you take the route, aside from shaving or just letting it do what it's going to do naturally, anytime you take the route where you're trying to make it look like you have more than you actually have, that's when you start having to do 2 things instead of 1. In other words, if you're going to get a hair transplant, you should do the Propecia. If you're going to do the the hair systems, then you should you have to watch where you get your hair wet, or
right.
You can't go swimming, things like that. There's always some sort of balance.
Right. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's something that the hair loss field in general, the industry in general, neglects to tell consumers. Everything is sold as though this is a cure, this is a treatment that will change your life. It'll get you back to where you were before you started to lose your hair. And that is never, ever the case. And I tell everyone, once you cross that line, there's no going back to where you were before. There are options that can give you some peace of mind, that can slow the progression or stop it for many years. There are great hair transplants being performed. There are great hair pieces that, one of the hardest things to do is really, even no matter how great the hair piece is to maintain it so it continues to look as good as it should. And most people don't. That's why they're so noticeable out there. You see so many bad hair pieces. Guys just don't have the wherewithal and the artistic ability and just the, I don't know, just maybe the resources and even just the time to make it look the way it should look, or the way that they can look. So a lot of people are walking around very unhappy when they're in their hair pieces. But it's not easy. None of it's easy. And you're a guy who's had 10 hair transplants. So you know. I've had 6. 6.
2 with Dr. Norris from back in the day, and then 4 with Dr. Long.
Well, I'm just going to keep telling people 10 because it's a lot.
Well, and it's impressive, right?
Yes.
So, and with the amount of hair I've had moved, I might as well have had 10, right? So,
absolutely.
But what we're talking about also goes back to the private message I was trying to send you. It was a link to an image I scanned when I was flying over the holidays back home. I saw in my in-flight magazine an ad for NeoGraft. And I don't know if you saw this when you were flying, but it was in the in-flight magazine. I saw it and I was like, what the hell is this? Oh my God, they're actually advertising in this in-flight magazine.
Sure.
I ripped it out and I scanned it. And I just sent you the link to your email address.
Oh, great.
And the ad is simply the back of 2 guys' heads. One has a strip scar, one doesn't. And that's the ad. That's all there is. And nothing about growth rates, nothing about quality of work, nothing about naturalness, because that is assumed in the ad.
That's
right. The only thing that they got to go on is no strip scar.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is, and that's how it's going to be marketed, and we know that. And
it was absolutely disgusting to me.
But for anyone to be surprised about it, Joe, there's a guy that I actually think is doing good FUE work. He's out in Orange County. He's a really nice guy. And I think that he really tried to go about things the right way. But he recently put out an ad. Basically, it was a guy and a girl going on a first date. And the guy had a hairpiece, a talking hairpiece. Did you see that?
No. Oh, my God.
The guy had a hairpiece that was flapping up and talking to the woman, saying, I forgot what he was saying. What it was saying. It wasn't even funny. It was so vile. It was so repugnant to me.
Oh,
and
God.
then I forgot what the catchphrase was, or what the call to action was exactly. It was something like, basically saying, you don't want to be bald in this life. Everyone thinks you're a joke if you're bald in this life. Get this scarlet hair transplant. It's going to, solve all your problems and cure your woes. And a doctor online posted it on Facebook, on the ISHRS Facebook page, and kind of asked what our thoughts were. And I had to tell him what my thoughts were. I mean, it was a disgusting ad. It's a disgrace. It brings the entire field of hair transplantation back, 20 years. And that's what's being sold. That's how this bullshit, in my view, is being marketed to the unwitting consumer.
It's all about, look, there are so few doctors out there in the grand scheme of things that do decent work, much less really good work.
Right.
That when you see ads out there like this, I mean, this doctor notwithstanding, I mean, that's a separate deal. But like this Neograft ad, it looked like it was a group effort where like 4 different doctors or maybe 6 different doctors pooled their money for this ad because it had their names down at the bottom of the page.
Right.
I've never heard of any of them.
Oh no.
Right. And I went to their respective websites because they were listed, and I think 3 out of the 6 had actual before and after pictures. The other ones didn't, and one of them that did have photos only had one image before and after, and it was listed from one of the other websites in the group.
Right. Sure.
And again, it goes back to the basics of what's wrong with how this is perceived by people that look at this stuff, or people that try to market this stuff as, it's all the same. It's just this is better because there's no donor scar,
and that's
or scarless, like you're saying. And
look, that's exactly
it doesn't. It doesn't zoom in on the fact that no, you can't just go to anyone, because most clinics out there aren't worth a damn. And it's like nose jobs and, lip jobs, and, you can go to all these doctors and you can expect the same result. No, that's not the case. And I wish that there was just a way, to pound this into the public psyche, but it's a huge battle that's uphill.
It's been an uphill battle that I have been kind of leading the charge with, or for.
Yes, you have.
For the last 13, 14 years, and it's been very, very difficult. I certainly believe that, and you've seen the evolution of the field, that the work here at the Bald Truth and everything we've done, and your work, has evolved the field to a level that, when I started, I never thought it would get to this point. In a positive way. There's definitely a huge improvement in the work that's being done by a lot of clinics, by a lot of doctors. There's no question about it, and there is no other single driving force behind that that's bigger than the web itself. That's right.
But before the web, man, there was, like when I had my first 2 procedures, my research was a phone book.
Right.
Right, and if you wanted to meet someone, good luck. It just wasn't going to happen.
That's right.
But here are my photos. Here's 4 before and after photos. This is the quality work I do. Oh, and I've done this celebrity, and this celebrity. Oh, yeah. So what? I'm bound by patient confidentiality, but I did this celebrity, this celebrity.
That's right.
That always kills me. Well, Dr. So-and-so told me he did Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. Really? Anyway, but yeah, I'm on a rant right now, but it's something that's been bugging me over the past several days, because I got home and I scanned it, and I'm going to put it on my blog. By the way, announcement: Hair Transplant Mentor. It's not complete, but it's been completely revamped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's it's revamped completely, and I'm going to be adding a section to it that's going to be a regular video section where, using my iPhone 4S, I have it in my car, and I've been recording these videos going to and from work, where I'm sharing my thoughts of the day based on patients I've been talking to or cases I've seen, and basic questions, stuff like that, or something that's on my mind, and then I'm uploading it to this section once I get it built. So it'll be kind of like Joetronic on hair or driving with Joe or whatever.
I think
not sure what I'm going to label it, but it's a new development I'm going to be putting on my site.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's what people want. People want to be able to relate to somebody that's been through it themselves, and you have a unique perspective because not only have you been through it, you're in the industry, so you know what goes on. There are guys out there. There's one guy in particular that posts a lot on my side and Ball Tree Talk and other sites. And he always tries to pound into people's heads that, he's not being paid by the industry and he's just going out there and telling it like it is, this and that. The truth of the matter is, no matter how much intimate knowledge he believes he has about the industry, because he's a hair transplant victim, a poor, hair transplant, prior poor surgeries, and now he's being repaired, he has really little insight of the reality of the industry. I mean, really what goes on behind closed doors. A full understanding of the business of hair. The guy has no clue. And I see what he writes, and while I think that he's attempting to be, and he is being altruistic, and he's giving as much information as he can about the back end of the industry, I read some of his stuff, I'm like, wow, this guy really has no clue. And you may know who I'm talking about.
I have a good idea, yeah.
You have a unique perspective, as I do, but except my perspective, I just kind of held off of having surgery, but the truth of the matter is, every door that I walked through when I was first dealing with hair loss wanted to do something to me. And I just, for whatever reason, had the wherewithal to step back and realize this is not going to help me. And I made the right decisions for me.
That's the basis. The story of how you got started. You there's something special about you and how you saw the level of bullshit that was being fed to you everywhere you went.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes. Everyone was that you spoke to was a yes man because they wanted to get you in the chair. They want to get you a wig, a hair transplant, whatever. You had the basic common sense that a lot of people don't have, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this. What's not right with this?" And I didn't have it when I was 22. A doctor said to me, "You need a hair transplant," and I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Yes, you did." And I said, "Okay, I guess I need a hair transplant."
Yeah.
I didn't have that foresight. You did, and you've built upon that to be in the position you are. I unfortunately did not. I had the 2 procedures, lived through the horrible work I had, and then had the benefit, the luck of being able to do a 180-degree turnaround and go in the other direction, 1,000 miles. And so and on a daily basis, I'm in the trenches, not only speaking with patients that have also been through all kinds of, or various levels of surgery or their own experiences, but I'm also in the surgical suite. I'll sit in with Dr. Wong and Dr. Hassan, and I'll watch the surgery, and I'll ask questions because I still want to know what's going on. And they're always evolving little things, little tweaks that they do to improve things just that much more. And, and I see these cases that come in that are absolutely the worst of the worst hack jobs, and consultations, we tell them we can do this or we can't do anything, or they're in surgery, and I see how these cases are rectified. And it's a blessing, I think, to be able to see what I see and continuously have an ever-growing perspective of how this works. I mean, I've gotten to the point where I see things that I wouldn't have seen 3 years ago.
Right.
Just glancing at something, I can see a whole new world of possibilities, or I can see what's been going on before I even ask my first question.
Well, look, I consider you an asset to the online community, and honestly, I consider you an asset to this program. And I love when you call in and provide this insight. I have, and I'm going to be candid, and these people may be watching or listening to the broadcast now. I have been asked why, I kind of allow either you or Alan Bauman to be on a lot or whatever by some of the other doctors out there. And I'm like, listen, you guys can call in any time you want. The fact that these guys are so involved and are willing to come out here and communicate with my people and get their message across just shows me that they are really think that what they're doing is important. It's important enough to take the time out of their Sundays to come out here and share their experiences and help others. And everyone just looks at either you being here or Bauman or whoever else, or when Alan Feller used to call in a lot, as people out there promoting themselves. It's never that way. You guys have been a tremendous asset to the program, and I think it's important. I wish more guys like you who have been in the trenches, who are there every day, would call in and kind of help navigate these guys.
It's always been fun. Thank you, Spencer, but it's always been absolutely mind-blowing to me that, anything that we do, which has been with the single goal of exposing ourselves as much as we can, orientation being pushed. It's all been pushed as, well, it's just marketing.
Right.
Oh, okay. So the fact that we got we're the first in the industry to have HD video for results. We still have far more than anyone else. The whole reason why we wanted to show HD video was so that you could see the actual hairs exiting the scalp, individual hairs, close, crisp, focused. Well, that's just marketing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. I guess from one point of view it could be, but it's also to show what the reality is, short of actually being there with the comb yourself, right? And it just. Yeah, I mean, everything we do, it's just marketing. Well, it's also to help educate guys. And what I can say about these doctors or clinics that have told you, why do you let Joe and Bauman and all these guys, call in so much? Hey, if you're watching, look at the video camera, put down your golf clubs, and pick up the phone. You can do it yourself. I mean, come on. It's not like anyone's keeping you guys from participating. If you got the work, show it off. And that's all there is to it.
Look, and that's no truer words have ever been spoken. And I want these other guys who are doing great work to become more involved. And I want everyone who's listening and watching the program in the industry to know that Joe and I didn't have a conversation with Joe before this broadcast and say, hey, Joe, call in. He calls in because he enjoys being a part of the show. And look, if it benefits the practice that he works for, then that's great. He has a good product out and honestly, one of the few really great products out there. And I believe that the members of my organization, the IHRS, these doctors are doing some of the best work in the world. Everyone should take the opportunity to utilize the resources that I've created and that have been created, through the Bald Truth, and get this information to the public, because too many people are going to be screwed up tomorrow by guys who took out this NeoGraft ad or whatever else, similar ads out there. So the guys that are doing great work should be a part of what we are doing. And I hope that I can reinforce this notion and get this idea, this concept out there to the guys that have been involved with us for years. There's a guy out there in Minnesota. I'm not going to mention his name. Really nice guy, good doctor, has been doing great work for years. I've always said, why don't you call in? Get involved with the program, get your stuff out there, whatever it is. And, you just don't hear from these guys. No one wants to really take the time to, in my view, to get their particular message out there on what I believe to be the most powerful resources online right now. And listen, well, I just think you're doing a great job, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I want more people to call in. I think it's great for everyone. Like if the guys you're talking about just now, or anyone else, picks up the phone, calls in, engages the other on-air personalities or the people that are chatting, or anyone else that's listening. I mean, it's just education, right?
That's right.
And I like calling in because I like you. We never met face to face, but I think that we're friends.
Absolutely.
And, the guys online like Johny and Joe in Staten Island. I mean, it's like a guys club. and it's fun to call in and hang out with you guys, and I appreciate all of you that participate in any way.
Well, Joe, listen, we're going to close up shop, but and I appreciate that. I just wanted to get that out there, and I want to apologize for all you guys who are holding on, and Johnny and Joe who have been holding on, trying to listen to the show through my screwed up phone lines. I'm hoping now that I have the new studio set up that I can get another line in here. It could take a few days, if not a week. So everything should be set up, good to go by next week, unless this new software gives me problems, which it has been to some degree, but we're going to figure it out. Listen, guys, let me say goodnight to Joe. Tillman, Joe, thank you so much. And Joe, why don't you give out your email address in case people want to contact you?
Joe at hassanandwong.com, HASSONANDWONG.com.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe. And Joe from Staten Island. Are you still there?
Of course I'm here. I just want to say to all the hair loss sufferers out there, I pray to God that 2012 may be the beginning of getting our lives back.
Well, Joe, it can definitely be the beginning of getting your life back, but you can't hinge it on the fact that there may be a cure or more effective treatment coming out. You should really try to kind of work on that even before the treatment does come to fruition, because I think you're going to enjoy that treatment that much more if you kind of have some semblance of a life.
Well, Spencer, I have to hope, because if I don't hope, I will perish.
All right. Well, on that note, Johnny, we will see you later, man.
Take it easy, Spencer. Great show.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you so much for calling in, hanging out. We will hopefully get all the bugs worked out for next week, and I have to even work on my camera settings, because it's a new camera, and I know that we can even get a higher definition, better live stream. And we actually may have to send you directly to another page, which will, I guess, display the quality of the feed much better, and I'll let you guys know where you guys can go next week. And obviously, you guys can always hang out on Stickcam and Ustream.com, Justin TV. You can listen to the program live on iTunes Radio. You can listen in your car on Stitcher Radio, iTunes Radio, all over the world now. The Bald Truth has really come a long way online in the last year, and I want to thank the guys from Queens, GFQ Network, for picking up the show and syndicating it. And I want to give out the website for those in need. You can check out the American Hair Loss Association at AmericanHairLoss.org. If you want to join our message forum, check out baldtruthtalk.com. If you're a woman dealing with hair loss, please check out the Women's Hair Loss Project.com. And listen, we'll be here same time, same place next week. Until then, be strong and God bless, and thanks for listening.
God damn, boy, what's that, some kind of weave or something?